Hello and welcome to another show of Expat Living. And today we're talking about the martial arts scene in Ho Chi Minh City. Among the martial arts that have been introduced to Vietnam and has become popular, Katori Shinto Ryu, originated from Japan, is one. And the one who introduces this art to Vietnam is Malte Stockholm, a Dutch expat. And we'll meet him in one of his evening classes in District 1.
Narita is 70 kilometers from central Tokyo. Shibuya Dojo of Grandmaster Ryusuke Otake is the only place in the world that fully teaches Katori Shinto Ryu. Thousands of people from all over the world have moved to Japan and come to learn the traditional Japanese martial art here. And the fame of this martial art has gone beyond the Japanese border, reaching different countries around the world. And in Vietnam, there is one such place where people can come to learn the art. One Dutch man brought martial art to Vietnam not long ago. This is one of Katori Shinto Ryu's classes, a martial arts school that developed in Japan 600 years ago. And this is the man who has brought this martial art to Vietnam.
My name is Malte. I'm Dutch and I've been living in Vietnam for almost 14 years. I work for the Organization for Education of the Netherlands, and apart from that I have a family and I have a Đường or a dojo in Kenjutsu.
With the burning passion for martial arts, Malte practiced different types of martial arts since he was young. And when he grew up, Malte took up Kenjutsu. His Kenjutsu instructor in Japan then allowed him to open a training center in Vietnam as he travels here to work.
I started with martial arts when I was very little, 6 years old, because I was very busy at home and my parents went crazy, so they said go and do judo. And I never stopped practicing. And when I was a little bit older, I started with Katori Shinto Ryu Kenjutsu. So I trained by myself for many years, 5-6 years, every day by myself in the morning. And then every time I went to Japan, which is almost every year, sensei said to me, you haven't got much better. And after 5 years, I decided to explain to him that I don't have anybody to train and no sensei. And then he understood and he said, okay, then I give you permission to start a school. It is a martial art which is very traditional. So the techniques we show to each other are secret. So we have to promise that the school we build is based on good behavior and good ethics, and that we share the techniques only with people inside the school.
Kenjutsu School Tenshin Shoden Katori Shinto Ryu is one of the oldest extant Japanese martial arts. It was founded by Isasa Joysan Lenaut in 1480, who was a spearman and swordman. Tenshin Shoden Katori Shinto Ryu is the source tradition of many Japanese martial arts. It claims to have never allied itself with any estate or faction, no matter what stipend was offered. This allowed the Ryu to maintain its independence and integrity. In 1960, the school received the first ever intangible cultural asset designation given to a martial art. The 20th generation headmaster, Yasusada Isasa, however, does not teach his family system and instead appointed his representative instructor, Ryusuke Otake. Most trainees who join the school have to strictly follow the 4 articles of an ethical agreement. Anyone violating this will be punished by the deity of martial arts. The agreement is sealed in blood. Katori Shinto Ryu was brought into Vietnam in March 2012 by Malte Stockholm. Being a foreigner, introducing a foreign martial art to Vietnam, Malte faced a lot of difficulties. However, The art later received great attention from locals and even members of the expat community in Ho Chi Minh City.
Any country where you introduce a new martial art, you have to introduce yourself. So I went to many martial arts schools, and when I introduced my sensei from Japan, I invite everybody and I explain to them, what are we doing? We are friendly and we do not compete in competitions, and also we don't compete in business. We are here to train, and we want to train together, and we want to exchange our experiences, 交流. It is a challenge because it was completely new. Everybody knows kendo, everybody knows karate, but if you say kenjutsu, they don't understand. You have to explain it. So that was a big challenge.
After officially introducing Kenjutsu into Vietnam, Malte had to find a place to start training with his students. And luckily, famous Vietnamese actor and martial art trainer Johnny Chí Minh allowed Malte to commence the training inside Johnny's Phóng training center.
Johnny Chí Minh has been very important. He is the one, because he is teaching something very special. He is teaching Phóng MMA, which is from his grandfather, from his family. This is a very special martial art. And to accept somebody who is strange, a weird Dutch guy, who is training something which nobody knows what it is, that is something which takes a lot of character. And he gave us a chance, and 2 years later we are still there, and we work together, and we try both in our way to promote martial arts. So yes, of course, Johnny Chí Minh has been a very big role in our Đường, in our martial arts school.
From the first classes in the Phóng training center, Malte now has classes all weeks in 2 other venues, both located in Ho Chi Minh City's District 1. From a few people at first, his club now receives dozens of members of different ages, sexes, and social strata. But all of them do show huge passion for the art.
It's very interesting. We have a lot of girls. We have a lot of young professionals. We have people from different countries. So it's a very wide range of people. We have people who have a financial very stable situation, and we have people who are still studying and have no money. So everybody can join. And we have many martial artists here who come from another school, like boxing or MMA or Viet Võ Đạo. So, and even Kendoka, they come here and train with us.
Brian is a new expat in town since he transferred his job to Ho Chi Minh City. Hearing about Katori Shinto Ryu, he did some research about the art and then decided to join the club. And after receiving training from Malte at the school, he hasn't regretted his decision.
Well, the training's intensive for sure. We do 3 hours many times a week. And the idea is pure focus training. And you're on mentally and physically all the time. And this is all, again, about improvement. And everybody we train with here are fantastic. Everyone trains 125%. And Malte Sensei, he's a fantastic gentleman. He is a tactician in the martial arts. and he wants to improve, and he wants us to improve for ourselves as much as Katori Shinto Ryu, the school.
The martial art also received great attention from many Vietnamese trainees as well.
Em biết tới môn Katori Shinto Ryu giống như một cơ duyên. Thì khoảng 2 năm trước thì em có ý định tìm để học một cái môn võ truyền thống của Nhật Bản. Thì tình cờ thì em tìm được trên web của Liên Phong là võ đường của diễn viên Johnny Trí Nguyễn. Thì lúc đó mới mở lớp kiếp gỗ samurai của Katori Shinto Ryu. Thì em tới đăng ký để tập thử. Thì ngay bữa đầu tiên thì em đã bị cuốn hút bởi cái tinh thần của cái môn kiếm này, bởi vì nó rất là truyền thống, nó rất là mạnh mẽ, nó mang đủ bản sắc của một cái môn võ đậm tính Nhật Bản.
Môn này nói khó thì cũng không khó, mà quan trọng là mình phải kiên trì. Vậy ban đầu mình tập rất là khổ, tại vì mới vô thì mình phải tập thể lực rất là nhiều. Mình tập 15 phút thể lực và sau đó là mình bắt đầu đứng tấn. Thầy cũng động viên rất là nhiều, thầy cứ thúc là cố gắng lên, em cố gắng lên, và như vậy thì em mới được như ngày hôm nay.
Trainees have to spend a lot of time practicing the basic techniques. It could take years to master all those techniques and move on to more difficult skills. Kenjutsu training includes different weapons beside the sword, such as halberd, spear, staff, throwing blade, and sword drawing art. However, here, not many trainees can learn all the arts. Apart from some who have learned the halberd, most of the trainees only practice with sword. However, according to Mate, the most important thing that all trainee needs to learn is the culture of the art.
Martial arts without culture just make you violent, like an animal. So culture is very important. Culture in this meaning is respect. Respect for weak, respect for young, respect for old. And also remember, where does the martial art come from? In Vietnam we have a saying, there is a saying, ăn quả nhớ kẻ trồng cây. When you eat the fruit, remember who planted the tree. So we are grateful for the people who went before us. We are grateful for sensei in Japan. We are grateful, the young students are grateful for the older students, because without them, they cannot be here. So there are many values that are instilled. Otherwise, the martial art is empty and it's just hitting.
After years of learning, some Vietnamese students have now reached a fairly high level. Some of them have been highly valued by Japanese instructors. Malte is proud that when he took his students to Japan, his instructor remembers Malte's students by name. As Malte says, the reason behind this is that Vietnamese students have patience and good stamina.
Vietnamese students have a high ability, and I think they have a martial character. It means they know how to endure. So also the way we teach, we explain quite clearly what to do. However, there is one thing which is very difficult. This is a Ryu, and a Ryu is different from a Do, and it is not a sport. A Ryu is basically a school, a very traditional school with very traditional ways. So when you study with us, you have to study basics for a long time. And these days, young people, they want to have a new technique every day. Some have the feeling that, hey, I pay you money, so you provide me the service now. But that's not in our school. In our school, we have a sensei, and we have the students, the young students and the old students, and we learn from each other. And it takes a long time to learn a new technique. So many people try, and they love it, but after a while they say it takes too long to get a new technique. But if you can stay a little bit longer and you get a new technique, you can see that the old technique, because it's so strong and you learned it so carefully, the new technique is more easy to learn and is more even stronger than the old technique. So strong fundamentals build a strong house. This is the same with Võ and martial arts, of course.
With more than a decade of training, Malte understands the art quite well, and his knowledge about the art in the aspects of culture and military greatly impresses people.
So today I have the chance to join the training session at the school, and maybe you could give me some ideas about the weapon and the armor that used in this martial art.
Yes. So basically, in old Japan, we use a sword for everything. So the sword has to fight against sword, and the sword has to fight against staff, and the sword has to fight against many weapons. So the basic thing we train with is a wooden sword. The wooden sword is heavier than a normal sword because it builds up the body. And the Japanese sword was very, very light, actually. So when you train with something heavy and you take a real sword, then you got some extra strength left. And we fight against the Yoroi. So the fighting is not just like in the movie, just hitting the head anywhere we want. Because if you hit the Yoroi, nothing is going to happen, even with a real sword. So what we attack are the weak spots. So the outside of the Yoroi is hard, but the inside is open and soft. So you cut the inside. But the point is, even the inside is just those positions. At those positions you got the main arteries, as you can see. So if you cut here or there, it's over, 20 seconds.
Also, the attack must be very precise because you
Yes.
attack spots.
Yes.
You're hitting everywhere.
No, if I just hit like this and like this, nothing happens. Even if I hit very hard, nothing happens. So I have to attack inside and very precisely in here. Then something happens. But if I miss, it's over and he can counter-attack. So very precise. From here, inside, boom, hut, bam.
Okay, so great. Thank you very much for giving some basic information.
Very basic.
This martial art.
Thank you very much for your interest.
With great determination, Malte, together with his students, have successfully maintained the development of the art in Vietnam. As time goes by, the art is more known and practiced by locals and expats alike. And for now, Malte starts to think about handing over the future of the art to the Vietnamese.
For the future, I think that Katori Shinto Ryu Vietnam should be run by a Vietnamese person. So Sensei in Japan and me, we are discussing who it will be, because I think in Vietnam it should not be a Dutch national running it, but it should be Vietnamese. Katori Vietnam will develop in quality, not so much in quantity, because we don't need new students. Anybody who wants to join is welcome, but we will not go look for you. If you want to join, our door is open, but we are not marketing anymore. If you want to join, we'll try to make you very good, and if you want to leave, that's good too. Everything is free in that sense. You're free to come and go. So we are looking for quality. We want to create a strong Katori Shinto Ryu with Vietnamese people running this and strengthening the relationship with Japan, Japanese people in Vietnam and also in Japan. This is about cultural exchange through martial art.
It's now his 14th year in Vietnam for Malte. He has a family, a good job, and freedom to do what he is passionate about. And he hopes that what he builds here can benefit the Vietnamese physically and spiritually, connecting the people of Japan and Vietnam even when he leaves.